For most homeowners, your house is your number one asset, but most don't understand how really true that is until they can no longer live in the home. Perhaps you need to downsize, or you're preparing for senior living. If you or someone you know has a reverse mortgage, I want to introduce you to Demetrius and Hannah. They came to understand the impact that having a reverse mortgage can have when they had to sell the home of their aging mother. So we just finished the sale of Demi, your mother, Hannah, your mother-in-law's home. What were you kind of up against? What were your reasons for selling?
Well, unfortunately, my dad passed. My mom has dementia, and we had to put her in the home. And it was a time that we had to get ready to, sell the place, and wasn't too sure how to go through with the process.
In the house itself, there was a lien on that. They'd had a reverse mortgage, right?
First, when they had the reverse mortgage, I really didn't understand it at first. I heard a lot of different stories from friends of people telling me that they was lucky that my parents at least told me. I had a friend of mine saying his dad never did tell him until he had a notice on his door that he had to leave the place, and they didn't understand what was going on, why he had to leave his home. Is because he outlived his reverse mortgage. So he outlived it. So I guess he ate up all the equity in the home. So they had to get him into a retirement home. And so it was a challenge to try to explain that to my parents about what was going on. I think at the time they thought it was a good idea because of their age, and he was retired and they don't have to, have that expense. But in the long run, it was bad because they could have received much more of selling the home, especially in the neighborhood that they was in. But that was the downfall of it, because they did the reverse mortgage they did the reverse mortgage, and with that, it ate up some of their money selling the home.
Time was the major factor for you guys. You got two major things, right? One, every month that you're holding the property, the equity is being eaten down a little bit month after month. And then secondly, or actually the bigger issue, was needing the cash to be able to care for your mom's needs. So tell me about the challenges with the condition of the house that made it a challenge to do a traditional sale.
They had infestation of rats, um, uh, cleanliness. Things happen. When they get older, dementia, Alzheimer's kick in, so they wasn't really keeping up with the place. Starting to become like more of a hoarder. Um, uh, the painting condition, the conditions of the house, the exterior of the house was kind of falling. Becoming in shambles.
And then that's really when it turned into, this is not something that we can get on the open market. It's going to have to be an investor sale. Then the panic sets in a little bit more, because then you're looking at, how many options do we have? How many investors do we have, that will come in with cash that are not loan contingent, because the house would not pass with that.
So when I come into the scheme of things, and we start having conversations about how to do an investor sale, my goal was to bring, to your point, qualified buyers who are able to bring cash and close quickly. And we had offers on the table relatively soon, right? And one of the things we had to deal with was expectations about what the property was worth, in terms of its market value, um, and what its investor value was, right? So we had to take a journey in that way too to get to the final sales price. Talk about what that journey was like for you guys.
And that's what I thought, like at first, like, okay, this is going to be real fast. I mean, this area over here, no matter what the conditions is, please, the SoFi Stadium, I see what they're selling the houses, 1 point over here. Somebody's going to come in here real fast, and we're going to get what we want. But with the teaching and the education that you brought towards us, and some of the things that we didn't know, kind of made us understand that no, maybe that's not realistically those numbers that we had in our head. We might want to go this way, especially since time was on our hands. And so there was a little highs and lows until we came to a even ground that I think that we was all happy with.
Yeah. And just to add to that too is, we were really being cognizant of, this is his mother's, with his father passing, this is her only asset. Right. And so at the same time, we also were too, knowing that we have to pay off the lien of the reverse mortgage, and then what is the amount she's going to get, because we're literally planning her runway at her retirement home of the her monthly expense, what she gets in outside of this sale, right? We're essentially her agents, and we just want to keep her in the place that she is and that she's thriving, and we wouldn't have to make another move after that.
The good part is that, as I tried to promise you guys from the early outset, investors I can get, right? It's not going to be a problem with finding people who will want to buy it. My goal for you is to put you in the best deal. Anybody can take a turnkey home and put it on the MLS and sell it, right? House sells itself. But when you've got an asset that needs some TLC, now you have to have a strategy. What I want to get from you guys, after having been through this, right, where we were in and out of escrow 2 times before we closed, all of it within about a 30-day window. If you were to talk to someone else who was in a similar situation, what would be the main takeaway that you would want them to know?
The conditions are just like ours. Ours was basically time and money. And that's basically what our conditions was. So if anybody's in that same situation, I would just say make sure you have somebody that's like Nick that can provide you the right proper resources, get you the information, and guide you in whatever that you're asking for. That person is working for you to try to help get you, that best deal.
Yeah, well, good. So the last point is, did the sale resolve in time to meet your deadline for what you needed to get done?
Oh yes, it sure did. It like I said, it's what they say. You might not, things may not happen when you want, but it comes right on time, and that's exactly what happened.
I'm grateful to have helped Demetrius and Hannah reach their goals, just like I have with so many of my past clients, just by tapping into my community of motivated buyers. You don't need open houses or signs in the yard just to get full value for your property, and more importantly, the terms and timeline that are going to be critical for your particular situation. Get in touch with me today for a free, no obligation consultation. And be sure to subscribe to this channel for more great information on protecting your most important asset. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.